Okay, Maurice. What are you doing, Maurice? You're just picking up my poison darts? What the heck is going on here? Maurice is wasting every turn to just pick up my darts? Did you know you could do this? I was kind of concerned about this fight, but I'm just going to cheese you out, I guess? I can't stop throwing, otherwise it might break the pattern, but cool. How about that? Bet it's beautiful in Whitehorse. It is fantastic. It's nestled right in a big old valley. Mountains on either side of you. Every side of you, really. And it is just gorgeous. Definitely, if you're somebody who enjoys getting close to nature, I'd highly recommend visiting. Even if you're not, there's still lots of other good things to do. Great music scene, great beer scene again. If you're into trying out different beers or anything like that. I think their mead scene is kind of picking up a bit as well, if you want something a little bit different. But regardless, lots of fantastic things to do, lots of really wonderful hikes, lots of fresh weather to be had, to say the least. That was hilarious, all right? And you're gonna try that tactic in the future? Said no one yet. Tell me if it works, because I'm very curious. Also, it's cool that the name of town changes names based on which direction you travel. If you don't like the name Red Deer, just drive past it, turn around, and come back. Now the town is named Deer Trail. And Goldfish Maurice. Oh, look, a poison dart. Oh, look, a poison dart. Oh, what a treat. Okay, I was hoping Nergal would come and hang out with me by the stairs so I could separate them from their friends. And you still need to try Jivia at some point, Svindart. I would highly recommend it. I definitely never really given them much of a shot, but had a lot of fun on our Deep Dwarf run in this series with that. Specifically on Deep Dwarf, Jivia is just stupidly strong. Feels very unfair when you're playing as a Deep Dwarf that can regenerate health. Pretty wild stuff. B-Crawler, you don't have to pick up ammo. And yeah, it was said, no one's mentioned there as well. Fortunately, that was also kind of brought in the current version of Trunk here. Which I'm excited. It's not too long now before that comes out as stable, hey? I'm excited to try it out. Again, opportunity attacks are gonna wreck me, but I'm sure I'll have a good time. Ooh. We have a volcano and an ice caves. Huh. Well, that's interesting. Well, let's stay on my stairs since I don't know what else is going to come crawling out of the woodwork here, and unfortunately can't get out of here too easily, so the melting archway is nearby. I can get one pip of cold resistance. I don't think I have any fire resistance, so there is that to keep in mind. But the ice caves I can potentially give a shot. It's terrifying. Ice caves always are. But maybe, just maybe, we'll see just how close by it is. Is it up here somewhere? Please don't shout ogre. It's Vindar, you wanted to try a Demon Spongivia for mutation on mutation? That sounds very fun as well, for sure. And crackling very nearby, so we're heading the right way. Just keep trekking straight on till morning here, and maybe, just maybe, we can give that ice cave a shot. Nope, not there. Oh my gosh. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Hey, there'd you go. Perfect. Oh, stepped right between the ice devils, but that's fine. At least we swapped our cold resistance before we got here. Have enough money for a couple of potion petitions. I think we might try it out. Just in time for the first Formicid? Exactly. Oh, perfect timing there, 9th. Going fairly smoothly too, if I may add, especially for our first try. Dolphin, like we discussed the other day, you just need an answer to them after the opportunity attacks, I'm guessing. Rude Leap, Jam Lash, Swiftness Spell, for sure, yeah. Mostly it's just clearing all the like mental and physical habits that I've gotten myself into. But also, yeah, hello 9th, how's it going? Cyborg, some races don't eat food in B-Crawl. The 2 races you recommend or can very both eat food, though. See, that'll be interesting to go back to eating food. Remember those old days? Ancient history. Steam Dragon Simulacrum? Shouldn't be too bad. Komodo Dragon Simulacrum. A little bit nastier. I think I will take this on, though. With our cold resistance, we should be able to handle them. No problems. Perfect. For the most part, you like the removal of food Thalphon. You think that has suffered for it some, and Google's lost some really neat mechanics, but otherwise it's generally nicer. 100% I agree. No, there have been too many characters on my end that have kind of needlessly struggled with food, where it's not even ever a danger of running out of food. It's just spending hours trawling through the abyss to either find food lying on the ground or enough money that I can call in a food shop with Go's Egg. I'm specifically thinking about my one Mega Ziggurat character that I still have going. I think in 0.25, and it's more of an annoyance than any true meaningful mechanic, so I do enjoy that change for sure. Because monstrous demon spawn, I'm guessing you're talking about Spindart. Monstrous demon spawn with Jivia Moots for all the auxiliary attacks sounds pretty fun. Not sure the functionality. Hey, functionality comes second if you're having a good time. That sounds pretty fun to me for sure. Cyborg, you totally do get the argument for not having food, but probably the largest divine factor between the core game and the various forks. So most of the forks kept food around? As we've mentioned B-Crawl here, but have all the other kind of larger forks or more popular ones done similar things? If so, I find that kind of interesting. Often you kind of miss being able to walk into Zot 5 Lungs with Fedhas and just set up a tower defense map of Oak Clubs. See, yeah, I never really explored Fedhas too much back in the day, so I didn't get to experience all of that firsthand, but it does sound like a good time. Cyborg, depending on the kind of good, might not be a fork, maybe a spoon. Fair enough, you gotta have the option for any cutlery, really, at the end of the day. Otherwise, I feel like you're just missing out. Okie dokie, not too shabby so far. Apparently, mostly, it's just various types of little dragon drake monsters hanging out in this ice cave, so how about that? I mean, gladly can take care of them. I'm sure the very ending of the ice cave is going to be terrifying, and I'm going to regret any level of confidence that we've had thus far, but we'll burn that bridge when we get there. Ooh, what can we drop here? You walked into Z5 with Fedhas back then and enough fruits, you just won. Couldn't really deal with extended unfed, but is arguably the strongest 3-rune god for a while. I'm curious if that was when I was on my hiatus from the game as a whole, but definitely sounds pretty wild and wacky. I like Fedhas still. I mean, I did enjoy back when Fedhas you had all the like ballistamite things where you could fill entire clouds. I guess you still have ballistamites on Fedhas. Is that, maybe my brain is thinking about when they used to be monsters, which I'm not sure if I missed that or not. They were a bit of a nightmare to root out when you had to trace them down the whole way. Otherwise, if you left even one alive, then it would maneuver around the area, but still kind of fun. You're playing Battletech right now, Cyborg, but thanks to my game, you're gonna take a B-Crawl dive. Nice. Well, best of luck. I hope that you make it through in one piece. Let's drop some of this nonsense here, and we can put on, ooh, not the chainmail willpower, but instead cold resistance, and let's double down on that for the remainder of the area here. Interesting. Oh wait, I fly. Right, I have a flying ring. Never mind. Perfect. Well, that's about what I expected. Still terrifying though. Fortunately, there's a lot of just straight up physical damage alongside the ice damage that would be taking there. That's fine. Let's dig our way into a slight hole here. And I mentioned you still just win, but you don't need fruit anymore. Just summon like 6-0 clubs. Thalphon, your grade's still very good. 6-0 clubs isn't 30. I don't know. Are you sure about that? I feel like 6 is sometimes equal to 30, no? No, is that just bad maths? And you'll die, you only have 2 wins ever, 1 normal game, 1 beat crawl, and both wins are as Merfolk Gladiators. Hey, well, there's no time to break the pattern like today. I have confidence in you. This will be the one, the win number 3 for you. Lock it in the books, folks. Ooh, the Skin of Zor. Skin of Zor is an interesting little artifact for sure. Deceptively good. And we get a Ring of Willpower, Resist Corrosion, and in +2? That's not bad. Yeah, exactly. 6 always equal to 30, mod 3. And Zelpon back then, they could still hit off-screen enemies too. It was pretty busted. Sounds wild for sure. Maybe I should have been playing Fethass back in the day. It's not like I've really made good progress back then in general, I would argue. That's fine. Spin out all your wins are from launchers this trunk patch. Need to diversify. Yeah, I feel like I get sick every once in a while of just running the same thing over and over again. That's usually when I end up doing something a little bit silly and getting myself killed off, but it's usually a good time while I'm at it. Ooh, and that was just the halfway point, hey? Or maybe this is... Oh, I see. We skipped to a different entrance by flying over the water. The old lake skip, as they call it in the speedrunning community, of course. Shave a whole 10 seconds off of our in-game time here. Perfect, perfect, perfect. And apparently you already have an active big pro game as a Centaur Arcane Marksman. Well, that's the one. I'm sure you'll get it done. Again, win number 3 coming up. Cocktail, okay, dinner made in Birdland must be combated. Or vacated, I'm guessing. But nice, enjoy your dinner. Add some swords to your launchers. That's one of the big changes I'm most excited with, is trying out the deck scaling swords. Even when swords could still riposte, I found myself always very tempted to build pure decks, but it still wasn't great at that point in time. So I think that sounds like a really fun idea to me for sure. And I'll have to try it out as soon as it comes out to stable here. Could also just play on trunk, I guess, but I've gotten so used to the usual routine, and I don't unfortunately get a lot of time to play besides when I'm on camera here these days. So play Dwarf Fortress. Always a good option. Spinner, you can't play melee. You've won once on melee swords, but you felt so weak compared to launchers. Is the volcano still opened? My guess is no. Could be, but I have no fire resistance either, so I think I'm gonna have to pass that one on by for now. Obviously, more so, even more so now that I've vacated the area myself, but I think I'm happy with that. Do I bother fighting you whatsoever? I think the simple answer in life is a no. Something special about loading a mine cart with all your non-Mastercraft weapons and flinging it at the Golem Invaders. Here. Making cool little flood sections and kill boxes. Cocktail, you think I'd be fun to watch playing RimWorld? That'd be a fun one to try and fit in sometime too. I adore RimWorld. Such an incredible game. It was a lot of fun when a roommate, one of my best friends from high school, was living with me, and both him and I were playing way too much RimWorld at the time. This was like just a few years back, but it was so fun just comparing stories and all the different narratives that have come along with our various civilizations. Such a fun game. It's all about that what's that, Randy? You play on Randy, and I'm trying to remember the difficulty names in that game, but I'm blanking at the moment. That's just telling you that it's been too long and I need to go back. They have a multiplayer mod now and it's super fun. See, I wish that had been around when we were still living together, because we would have absolutely played the ever-living crap out of that. But let's head back to Lair now that we're feeling slightly stronger. I still don't feel confident against Hydras, but we'll see how she goes here. Pop ourselves back. Oh right, I also swapped out of my poison resistance. That's not great. Why didn't you tell me, Jenny? That should be just fine though, especially if we get a bunch of good heals in our potion petition, and then we can just tab our way through the rest of these sons of guns. And I think we will do that swap, change back over to our poison resistant scale mail here, and that should be fantastic. No, as is usually the problem with stuff, stream-related stuff like that, Cocktail, is there are just so many games that I would love to play on stream. RimWorld definitely being one of those. We unfortunately just don't have the real estate for it, since we're not able to get on here too often, all things considered, but it's definitely on the list as a potential fun option if we do find ourselves jumping on in the future with some extra time to play, or not knowing what I'm going to play. That's a fun one to give a shot to for sure. Again, it's been too long since I played RimWorld myself. B equals B12, you realized you were typing that here accidentally and decided to post it anyway? Well, I appreciate it. I feel like the people really they have a right to know that B equals B12, you know what I mean? I think that's important information that the people need to hear. So thank you for so bravely sharing it with the rest of the world here. We all appreciate your commitment to the cause. And B is currently your throwing skill. Makes a lot of sense, yes. I'm gonna dig my way slightly out of there real quick, just so that we're not completely and totally surrounded. Oh my gosh, Blink Frogs, you're more annoying than any real threat here, and for that, I cannot forgive you. 12 is a good goal for throwing skill for any race that doesn't use any other range skills, for sure. Especially, basically any melee character on my end is guaranteed to have 12 throwing by a certain stage. Okay, here we go. Rematch against a Hydra, and we'll see how she goes. It's a decent start. Bad middle to brilliant end. Perfect, just as we drew it up here. Exactly as planned, never a doubt in my mind, of course. And let's just clear out the rest of this lair. I'm sure it will go swimmingly. It's nice that we're finally back up to a decent bank account here on the back end. Oh, and a bunch of Death Yaks is not who I was hoping to run into. I mean, I guess we'll still go for it and see how it begins here. And if things start to go poor, this is at least a group of enemies that we can start sprinting the other way from, so there is that. Like to start training evocations. Now we have the lightning rod, and we at least have a decent selection of wands here, so that seems like a good way to go about it. In Cyborg, you never normally use troll armor, but when it's found D1, hell yeah. See, I don't know if I agree with the first half of that. For me personally, I'm a big fan because I love and adore regeneration in this game, but D1 troll armor is huge. That's wild. Troll armor is now called cocktail armor. Perfect. As it should be. As all good troll armor should be. Okay, and the Death Yaks apparently way less of a problem than I was anticipating. So how about that? We also do have the Arc Blade, and I've just been carrying it around this entire time. Yeah, do I want to use this? It's a rapier. Really good enchantment on it. It would be kind of fun. I guess, what was the training on that? Need to bring short blades up to 14? I'll train a bit of short blades while we're at it. We don't have a lot of places where we're going to be desperate for experience on this character. I find in general, a lot of melee characters are a wee bit more forgiving in that regard. Oh, and I somehow, right, I picked up stones at some point there, so I will want to drop those once again here when we have a good opportunity. Again, I'm always too lazy to actually do the manual switching of the auto pickup, and instead just rely on wait until I have a full to the brim inventory, and then I can tell the game to ignore them from now on. It's not really easier by much of a stretch, but still can't help myself. I guess that's just the way my dumb human brain works sometimes. Ah, so here we go. This is where we can quickly reach in here, grab our stones, pick up the fear scroll. Now if we find another stack of stones, I'll be able to ignore it. Woohoo. Making up some completely arbitrary and manufactured difficulty there, but I would have it no other way, my friends. And there we go. They're always ignoring the stones, finally coming into play. Fantastic. And having a much better go at Lair, all things considered here. I mean, it was as we expected, but still nice to see it confirmed, because you never know when your expectations will be blown out of the water and you will be in a terrible spot. I mean, not me, because again, I'm perfect and never make mistakes and am a god gamer and yada yada yada, all that good stuff. Of course, very, very relevant, very applicable. But, you know, discarding that just for funsies as a thought experiment, if you will, then it definitely becomes a bit more of a an issue to keep in mind. That's one of those sentences that I forgot what I was talking about halfway through, but just pretend I know what I'm doing with life. I am a fully functioning member of society who can communicate my thoughts and feelings, right? Who's with me? Okie dokie. Again, I'm happy to see things leveling out here, starting to go a bit smoother. This could very quickly go the opposite way, but fortunately, we instead just murder our fun little Hydra pal. And we are good to go. We're starting to get a decent collection of bolts as well, so it's tempting to start relying on the crossbow a wee bit more often. Generally just been saving it for the large threats still, but we can probably use it with a bit less concern for the future. And fantastic. Let's not take on 3 elephants at once, though. That is not so fantastic. Instead, we can back ourselves into a corner. It's one of the beautiful things about Formicid that you can put yourself in a corner like this, which gives you that nice one-on-one encounter with the enemies, but you're not screwing yourself over because you can always just start digging yourself in a wide circle out of there. So that's awesome. So our Gelf is not a functioning member of society. Aren't we all not a functioning member of society, I mean. Everyone's just doing their best to pretend that we can function. And, you know, fake it till you make it and all that. Definitely something to be said, but I think that's the biggest realization that people have growing up as well, is when you think that everyone who's an adult inherently knows what they're doing and, you know, has plans and is succeeding at what they desire in life. But most adults, especially since I've become one, do not fall under that umbrella. Most of us are just constantly and consistently panicking and having no clue what the heck it is we're supposed to do in this great wide world. And that's part of the fun at the end of the day of life, is you don't really know what's going on and we're just all doing our best, but we're doing it together, and that's what's important, right? Oh, geez Louise, accidentally swapping over to the wrong weapon there and throwing some completely useless ineffectual darts, but no problems whatsoever. It's actually just a big brain strat I wouldn't expect you to understand. And there we have it, down to layer 5, no real problems. Jeez Louise. We all that have a beard, and if we average us out, we have 2 people with hair too long with beards. Perfect. By our powers combined, we can do anything. If by anything you mean having long hair and beards, of course. In fact, average us out and we have 2 Willie Nelsons. Nothing we're supposed to do, only things we get to do. That's definitely one way to look at it, yeah. Layer 6, maybe take a peek. I'm not super enthusiastic about a layer 6, but maybe we'll see how it goes, especially if I can split up this dang Blink Frog pack a little bit. obligatory they do travel in herds reference, and then we'll just murder them like we do. And yeah, let's just keep going strength until the end of days, shall we? Don't think we'll be worrying too much about casting spells on this character, so that works out fantastic for me. And so far, I'm not regretting coming down here too much, so that's nice, to say the least. Would like to bring this horny toad up a wee bit here, if at all possible. You know, it was kind of so I could split it from the pack of yaks, but that's fine too, I guess. We'll just dig ourselves a nice little kill hole there. And let's see, do we want to try out this arc blade now? We have pretty decent attack speed, so I'm going to turn off the training for just a brief moment here, and we're going to try it out and see how we're feeling. In general, it's just a rapier, so it won't be incredible all the way until the end game. This is kind of the time to take advantage of it, especially with all the packs that you find here in Lair. Seems like a fun little chance to let loose with the arc blade, get ourselves a little buzzed. Right? Want to be kind of careful there, though. Fortunately, the lightning arcs are non-dodgeable, so that's pretty huge, but still need to kill this fire crab as quickly as possible, or things are going to start to get a wee bit nasty. Oh, and a Hydra pal. How about that? You see nothing, my Hydra friend. Or headed Hydra roars. Excuse me. You've given away our position, you fool. But it is what it is. And again, Lair 6 going surprisingly well. Only a few Hydras to tiptoe around, and one of those being four-headed means that they're not too much of an issue. Ooh, gladly take more ID scrolls, of course. Scroll of Amnesia. Probably, again, not going to do a heck of a lot of good for us moving forward, but it's something. Maybe I will turn back on short blades. I'm having a good time with this, at least for now. And crossbows is another thing that we probably want to get back into the training loop so that we can use this arbalist here. That sounds nice. If we can get it to 1 attack per turn, that'll be huge. So we'll need 18. A ways off to say the least, but we'll get there eventually. And that'll be a fun opportunity to try something a little bit different from our usual routine. Just roar forehead. Indeed, that's all they're good for, really. Oh, hello. My Hydra friend, and see, there we go. That's more so what I'm hoping to see when coming out against Hydras. Fantastic. And then if I could get some electric bounces over to this son of a gun, that would be huge. Perfect. And finish you off with an ice blast. Lovely. Again, only slightly terrifying, which is a lot better than expected, to say the least. Oh, the arc blade. Such an interesting mechanic here, not being able to fully trust our attacks, or at the very least taking some damage on our end. Perfect. And a rapier is small enough that we don't chop off heads, so we can kill Hydras with it. I'm enjoying this for sure. I'm happy we gave the arc blade a shot. Probably again end up switching back over to maces and flails at some point, or even axes. For the time being, that is lovely. And ahoy to yourself, Jazzy. How's it going? Always lovely to see you. Thanks for dropping on by and saying hi. Hope you're having a wonderful weekend. And that things are well in general in life. Adoplebis, hey? Well, let's get out of here as soon as possible. We got lucky not to immediately be affected by that. But you're saying there's a chance. In fact, Arcblade should probably switch over to A so that I'm actually using it here. It is very easy. Oh gosh. Oh, when there are plants around, Arcblade becomes super ridiculously overpowered. Huh. How about that? Arcblade is a blast? No kidding. I think I've used it on one character before in this series. But it's been a long time since then for sure, so it's fun to give it another shot here. It does absolute wonders against the packs that you find in Lair here. Perfect. And 6-headed Hydra should go down without too much ado about nothing. Let's see what we got. A ring with a lot of positive energy behind it, but vulnerability to cold. Not great. Ring of Bruised Beasts here. Seem visible is useless for us, unfortunately, so we're just going to have to leave that by the wayside, but it is what it is. Let's go through and drop some more of our trash now as well. Short Sword of Electrocution, unfortunately, has just gone complete upgrade, so no thank you. What else? Skin of Zor I don't think we'll end up swapping to, even though it's tempting to a certain extent. I guess that's an okay start here. And do I want either of these rings, really? Probably worth it to carry around triple negative resistance in case that becomes relevant. The Ring of Bruised Beast can just go for the time being. Now your favorite DCSS streamer, all the others don't engage in chat, or egotistical jerks. In fact, the only other DCSS streamer that you still enjoy watching on Twitch rarely plays, and you followed him playing a different game. Well, I'm glad that you're enjoying the stream for sure. That is why I'm here, to hopefully provide some entertainment for all of you lovely folk, and have a good time myself while I'm at it. Nice little win-win bonus, to say the least. But thanks, Cyborg. I appreciate it. Life's good, Jazzy. Missed last few, but it looks like must have been taking it slow to be in lair on the first ant. Yeah, you know, getting distracted, interacting with chat. It's like Cyborg was just saying, it's all about that interaction. So, we basically just sat on the title screen for 3 weeks, and then now we're just starting for the first time. But yes, you knew that already, of course. Very, very obvious, because we would have won already if we were done our first ant. But yeah, I hope the arm is doing well too, Jazzy. Did we find Orc? We did, and we've cleared out Orc 1 and done a little bit on Orc 2, but not a heck of a lot of damage done in that department, so we might have to go back. I'm feeling a bit stronger, and a bit limber. We've stretched out, gotten the kinks worked out, as it were, so we can maybe give that another shot. Same with just the rest of the dungeon in general. You don't get why anyone would stream on Twitch and not engage in chat. I mean, right to each their own, and if they're having a good time doing it, then I'm not going to yuck their yum by any extent, but it is one of my personal favorite parts about Twitch, is the interaction for sure. Thanks, Arms. Alright, you're back on the bike yesterday? Hey, nice, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear it. But okie dokie. We will continue on with Adamant here, but before that, I'm going to take just a brief break here. I'm going to pour some food for Doggo and grab a refill for my glass while I'm at it too. And then we'll have to decide. We'll probably end up going down throughout the rest of the normal dungeon, and then maybe going back to Orc and taking a peek and seeing how it all works out. But we'll have to give it a shot. And Cyborg, you like Orc levels? Your largest complaint about B-Crawl is that Orc was reduced to 1, and you think it should stay as 2, and yet Elf is still 3. I really enjoy Orc. It's one of the more satisfying places to go, especially since I generally do Lair first myself, so by the time I get to Orc, on an average run kind of thing, I just get to slaughter my way through the whole thing, and it's nice to have those steamroll moments where you can appreciate your character for a bit before succumbing to hubris and murdering them a few levels later. But it's fun until then. To be honest, no other streamers play smooth Polybridge OST. And I know that's what keeps the people coming back for more, baby. There's nothing like it. Adrian Talons, I owe you so much for the wonderful compositions. I appreciate it. But before I forget, I'm gonna head out. Don't go anywhere, and we'll be back right away. I'll see you in just a second.